Oh, so the responses we have heard present four very different pictures of politics in India and Pakistan. Each reflects not just personal identity, but also the collective narratives about countries whole about themselves. So to understand this properly, let us take a step back and examine the facts. India has indeed sustained one of the largest democratic systems in the world for over 7 decades. Its constitution guarantees secularism, universal suffrage, and fundamental rights. So, its constitution guarantees secularism, and also beside that secularism, it guarantees the universal suffrage. So the sheer scale of Indian elections is unmatched. In 2019, nearly 600 million people voted across 29 states, choosing from more than 8,000 candidates. India's institutions, such as the Election Commission and the Supreme Court, continues to function independently in many cases, providing checks and balances that prevent complete authoritarian control. This is an achievement that can't be dismissed. Now, yet there is also truth in critique raised by Pakistan's side. India's democracy has increasingly faced criticism for majoritarianism. Reports from organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch document rising incidents of hate speech, communal violence, and restrictions on dissent. Freedom House downgraded India's democracy status in recent years, describing it as a party-free. So, while the machinery of democracy is intact, the spirit of inclusivity is under stress. So the spirit of inclusivity is under stress. Pakistan's story is different. Since 1947, Pakistan has oscillated between civilian and military rule. Out of 75 years, nearly half were spent under military dictatorships. Civilian governments, even when elected, often ruled under the shadow of the establishment. Until recently, no prime minister had ever completed a full term. This creates a fundamental instability. Citizens vote, but they are never fully confident that their vote will decide the future. This is a weakness compared to India's system. However, Pakistan too has strength. It has survived wars, terrorism, and international sanctions, and yet political life continues. Parties rise, leaders are challenged, protests erupt, and eventually governments fall. This resilience indicates that despite military dominance, there is a deep culture of political engagement among Pakistanis. Even the most powerful generals eventually faced resistance from the streets, like Ayub Khan, who was forced out by protests. Musharraf had to resign under pressure, and even today, Pakistan's army can't entirely ignore public opinion. Now, let us consider the minority question. India can rightly point to examples like Abdul Kalam and Zakir Hussain as evidence of inclusivity. Yet on the ground, many Muslims and Dalits feel marginalized. Recent citizenship laws and mob lynching incidents raise doubts about the equal treatment promised in the Constitution. Pakistan, on the other hand, gives reserved seats to minorities and has prominent Hindu and Christian parliamentarians. But can Pakistan elect a Hindu prime minister? That remains highly unlikely given the religious definition of its state. Therefore, both systems face different paradoxes. India has a robust structure but is drifting towards majoritarian politics. Pakistan has fragile structures but shows resilience through public resistance. For citizens, this translates into two different realities. In India, people live with confidence in democratic continuity, but worry about social polarization. In Pakistan, people live with uncertainty about stability, but also believe that they can challenge authority through struggle. So, if we compare global perceptions, India enjoys the image of the world's largest democracy and uses it in foreign relations. Pakistan is often seen as unstable, overshadowed by its military. Yet on the ground, both societies are struggling with similar questions: how to protect diversity, how to ensure justice, and how to keep power accountable. So, in the end, the lives of ordinary citizens in both countries are shaped not just by who rules them, but by how politics distributes opportunities and justice. For India, the challenge is to preserve inclusivity as it grows stronger. For Pakistan, the challenge is to stabilize democracy and reduce the military influence. So neither side can claim perfection. Both are still in work, they're in progress. What we must take away is this: that India's strength is its continuity. Pakistan's strength is its resilience. India risks becoming arrogant in its majority politics. Pakistan risks collapsing under instability. If both countries learn from each other, India learning humility, Pakistan learning stability, South Asia could see a brighter political future. This is what I would say.